Welcome to Section 7, Drawing Circle Graphs. Here we'll look at how we can use a protractor to draw a circle graph, because that's what we need when we're drawing them by hand. So now normally when you're given a circle graph, you have percentages. So we need to change those percentages into angles, so we know how big to draw our sector. Then, in order to draw angles, we need a protractor, which looks like this. So let's review how we use protractors. Now you'll notice two sets of angle measurements on a protractor, an inner set and an outer set. And some people get confused about which number to look at, so we'll look at that. Now a protractor could also look like this, which is a full circle. Starting at 0 and going all the way around, I want to point out that there are 360 degrees in a circle. So that's important to remember for later. So now when I draw an angle, you're always going to start by drawing a line so you can place your protractor on the line. Now when you place it, you need to line up the center of the protractor right here, we call them the crosshairs, on either end of the line. So if I place the protractor to the very left of the line, I'm going to use the inner angle measurements because that's where 0 is. So I'll start at 0 and go up. Now if I move it to the very right hand side, this time I'm going to use the outer angle measurements because that's where 0 is this time. So when you draw angles, always start at 0 degrees on the protractor. That's how you know which set of angle measurements to look at. So if I want to draw an angle that is 35 degrees, I'll use the inner angle measurements and look for 35 and put a dot. Now moving the protractor out of the way, I'm going to connect that dot with my line. Now I'm going to label that with my pen, 35 degrees. All right, let's do that again. So I will start by drawing another line segment. And this time I will place my protractor on the right-hand side of the line, meaning I need to use the outer angle measurements. So I'm going to draw an angle of 90 degrees, which is right here. So now I will connect that line and the point together. Now because my angle is 90 degrees, I just need to mark that with a square in the corner, because that represents 90 degrees. Now this time I want to draw an angle where the line is on a diagonal, as it may not always necessarily be horizontal, like in the first two examples we did. So you place the crosshairs at the end of the line. You just got to rotate your protractor so it lines up. So here we go. Now say I want to draw an angle 122 degrees. I'll use the inner angle measurements, find 122, and put a dot. Now I'll connect those and label the angle 122 degrees. Now here we have drawn three different types of angles. We have drawn an acute angle, meaning that's less than 90. We have drawn a right angle, because it equals 90 degrees. And we have drawn an obtuse angle as well, because that is greater than 90. I want to look at one more type of angle, which is called a reflex angle. A reflex angle is greater than 180 degrees. So let's say I want to draw an angle that's 200 degrees. Now on the protractor, you see that it only goes up to 180. So what are we going to do? Well, let me line up my protractor. And I'm first going to mark 180 degrees. Now I'm not going to connect that point with the line because that's not what I want. I got to figure out how much more I need. So let's subtract 180 from 200, which is 20. So I already did 180 degrees. I need to go 20 degrees more. So let me spin my protractor around. So you see zeros here. If I go another 20 degrees, I'll mark my point right here. So that is the point that I'm going to connect with the line. So you can just erase the other point. That was just to help you indicate where 180 was. So now let's mark our angle 200 degrees. So it's always important to mark the angle to indicate which one you are referring to, because you can see that there are two different angles that were drawn. So now, after that review of using protractors, you are ready to draw circle graphs.